Welcome to the Damascus Encounter, your lovely and interesting program on television. Jesus meets with people and under different circumstances. We set out on a journey, and when Jesus steps in, we go in another direction. Many times you never can tell where he's leading you, but surely he speaks to us in a very gentle manner many times. I have with me in the studio today someone who has a very unique experience by what God has done in his life and how he encountered Jesus, what he wanted to do and what he is doing right now. I want you to welcome with me in the studio today, Arah Jesse. Arah Jesse, welcome to the Damascus Encounter.
Thank you, sir.
So, Arah Jesse, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background?
Okay. My name is Arah Jesse. I am from the northern Nigeria.
Okay.
And a family of 7, including my late parents. I am a student of Papok University presently, a postgraduate student reading pastoral ministry.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, you're studying pastoral ministry.
Yes, sir.
Starting out in life, your educational background, did you set out specifically to study pastoral ministry?
Not really initially. As a youth or somebody coming up, I had always been to go into the motion pictures. So I set out to read theater and performing arts.
Okay.
That was my initial dream.
That was your childhood dream?
Yes, my childhood dream.
Okay, so if I may ask, so what actually caught your interest with theater arts, performing arts? How did you get interested in theater arts?
Well, I graduated from theater arts at first, but since before I got admission into the university, there was a conviction, a soft voice that had been whispering to me that's really, they're supposed to be a contrary call, but I've been rejecting it for a long time. So even when I graduated from the university, from theater arts, all the job huntings proved abortive. And now I remember that conviction. So there was a turning point when I had 2 series of dreams.
Okay, before we come to the dreams at all.
Yes, sir.
I was just I needed you to help our audience understand how very deep your conviction about studying theater arts, how it was, and whether it was easy for you to pursue and what that experience was like before we come to.
Okay, sir. Really, it was a very strong conviction. That was my dream entirely, because I had series of mentors in the motion picture world.
Exactly. So tell us about those mentors, what you liked about them, and how probably you envisioned yourself being like them someday.
Okay. When I was a child, I watched a movie, an international movie, Coming to America. So one of the actors in the movies, Eddie Murphy, I was really convicted through his performances in character in the movie. And also coming down to our nation here, Ramsey Noah is also my mentor. Okay. So I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be a shining star in the world at large.
Because they were exceptional.
They were exceptional.
And you truly wanted to be.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about, you studied theater arts?
Yes, sir.
Which university?
I studied theater arts in Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria.
Zaria.
Yes, sir.
So, as you look back, how many maybe just school days, how many performances did you, real performances on stage, that you were involved in? And what kind of roles did you play?
I can't really number out exactly.
Okay.
But I can remember some few characters I performed. There was a Yoruba play called Lishabi Agbongo Akala.
Okay.
It was a heroic play, and I acted as Akogun, one of the chiefs,
Okay.
in that play. So, and so many others.
And each time you did those performances, how did you feel? You felt like, I'm realizing, I'm driving consistently or quietly towards my goal, my dream in life?
Really, yes. I felt like I was a star already at that point in time. I felt, yes, I was a kind of achieving my dream to become a star. When I'm into the role, or whenever I'm being put in a role, I feel like a star always to achieve my dream. But coming to the turning point, let me pause a bit.
Okay, so I just was asking that because I know when we get involved in things where either we feel satisfied or we think, oh, I still have a lot more road to travel. But then today you say you are studying theology, pastoral. You are in the pastoral ministry. You are studying. You're a postgraduate student in pastoral ministry.
Yes, sir.
So, pastoral ministry. Anybody in the family who has background in pastoral work?
Okay. My late father was a pastor.
Okay.
He was a pastor. And my turning point conviction is not as a result of him being a pastor, but it's a personal encounter. It's a call. It's a real call into the pastoral ministry. All
right, we'll get to that call, that encounter. So, among your siblings, you had how many brothers?
I have 4 brothers and a single sister.
4 brothers, 1 sister.
1 sister.
And all other brothers today, is anyone in the ministry or walking the direction of becoming a pastor?
None of them.
So it's just you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this idea and you wanting to be a pastor, or you deciding to be a pastor.
Yes, sir.
Did it just come overnight, or is something you talked about that there's something quiet, a subtle conviction you've always had that has always been with you? So how long ago have you always felt I need, or maybe I might be a pastor, or I should be?
As I said earlier, the conviction has been since before I secured admission into the university. But I have been rejecting it.
Okay.
I've been rejecting it.
Was it very strong, or it was a quiet, subtle thing?
At first, it was, the voice of the Lord is soft all the time. Until you give it an attention, for it works in then it will have a place to work in your life. So it has been in me since, but it became strong after my graduation in relation to the job hunting. It's not because I lack job, because all the jobs I applied proved not positive.
Okay, so what kind of jobs were you looking for?
Several auditions.
Okay.
And then also I was into the music world.
Music world, okay.
As part of my dream.
Okay.
Yes.
I know Nigeria is big when it comes to video productions. So when you talk about auditioning, did you attempt at any point, did you try to get into Nollywood, or I don't know what kind of audition, I don't know if you want to share anything about your auditioning. So what groups did you try to join?
Like all these talent hunts,
okay.
You can get your way through that.
Okay.
And when we went for that play I told you about, there was an opportunity for auditions, several, in Lagos, because we performed that play at the National Theatre. So there were opportunities for auditionings,
Okay.
series of them, and also talent hunts severally, but to no avail, my effort.
Okay, so every time you tried, there was a turn down.
Yes.
You were not accepted. So every time when you were rejected,
Yes, sir.
how did you feel? Naturally, you will be disappointed, but I'm just wondering, did it make you feel, I have to get this. I need to move on and get another?
Yes, humanly, you feel disappointed. But when life circumstances prove negative all the time, you begin to feel maybe that's not the right path for you. So you need to pray for the Lord to show you the right direction.
Okay, so you were praying all along.
Yes.
That's interesting. So
Yes,
every time you prayed, I'm trying to look at how far you traveled pursuing that goal, that dream. So every time you prayed, you were convinced you should still try to get a job, go for another audition, and go for another audition because you felt this is a must-do for me.
Yes.
Okay.
I insisted
Okay.
on that part of my dream. But at a point in time, you know, when you persist on a particular thing, when it doesn't prove right, you need to have a rethink on that thing.
Okay, so at the point of rethinking,
yes, sir,
did you at any time find yourself saying, God, what would you have me do? You know, this I believe I should do, and I'm trying my best. Why is this not working for me? What do you want me to do? Did you find yourself in that position at any time?
Yes. When you are seeking God's intervention in your life, you need to be open. You don't need to give him direction, like to give him a clue of what you want.
Okay.
Just be...
you allow him
show you the right way. That was what happened.
And so at the end of the day, you got to the point where you felt, maybe I should listen to that voice. I'm just wondering if that was how it happened.
Yes. Based on the dreams I started telling you about, it was just a confirmation to that conviction that I had. I prayed so hard, and then the Lord showed me that that is not your way.
That's not your calling.
Yes, that is not your calling. So I got conviction straightly at a point in time when I had that dream I told you about.
Okay.
The dream was all about a light flooding in the temple.
Okay, we'll come back and talk about that dream.
Yes, sir.
And you will share with us exactly what you saw and
sir.
how it all transpired.
Okay.
Don't go away, we'll be back in a short while. Welcome back to the Damascus Encounter, and we still have Arah Jesse in the studio sharing with us his experience of being a dramatic artist, theater arts studied in the university, and now a pastoral theology student. Jesse, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
So, you had this dream.
Yes.
And there were two dreams. The first one, can you share that dream?
The first one, I saw myself in a church and going towards the pulpit, I saw a light flooding to the platform, as in on the stage of the pulpit.
Okay.
So as I was kind of wondering, why would I be here alone in the church? So something, my conscience, something in that dream told me that you don't belong to theater arts. You belong to the pastoral ministry, something like that.
Okay.
So as I woke up, and I said, what was that dream all about? And the Lord was a kind of telling me that, no, you don't belong to that place, or this way you belong to.
You should go.
So that was how I was kind of confused about what to do.
Okay. So in the midst of your confusion, did you set out praying about it, or you sought counsel?
I fasted.
Okay.
For a period of time.
Asking God to
show me my real direction.
Okay.
Yes.
And then there was another dream. So what was that about?
The other one, my father was preaching and suddenly he stopped. My late father, he was preaching on the pulpit and he stopped. And then there was a kind of, should I put it, this Jewish, should I say garment, that they will use it like to cover themselves, like this. So he removed it from his head and then dropped it and then took the Bible and then handed it over to me. Then he sat down that I should continue. Wow. That was the second dream.
All in your dream?
Yes.
So, sometimes we talk about the things that we think about, that our minds process during the day. Somehow they have a way of reflecting and showing in our dreams. So did you think about your father that day before the second dream? Did you at any time, did you find yourself thinking about him, what he did, and so that when you had the second dream, maybe you felt one of those things, or it was just a dream that came just like that?
Not really to the issue of thinking about my father, but it just came. It was more of a vision, let me put it that way. Okay. Half of a dream, half of a vision. It looked so real to the extent that it seemed I was a kind of awake, but halfway sleeping again.
Okay.
You get me?
Yeah, I understand.
It was in the middle.
Okay.
So it was a kind of so confusing to me.
And when you woke up from the dream,
yes,
did you feel that urge, now I know what I should do, or you still queried, or you were still not very clear about whether you should do this?
I was still stubborn, but it was in the process of the conviction. But at a point in time, the conviction became so strong, and I was like, guys, it was high time for me to take a bold step.
Okay.
Yes.
So, as you related the dream, I felt a little bit of impression. So when he handed, when he handed the Bible over to you,
yes,
that feels very, very profound to me.
Yes.
How did you feel? Or every time you look, as you cast your mind back, looking at the dream, the Bible handed over to you. Yes. So how did you feel at that point?
To strike the balance, the issue of being a pastor or a call, it is not the issue of inheritance to me, but a call, personal call to you. Because some people will say, your father was a pastor, you need to follow his footsteps.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not like that. That time, it was part of the conviction, but I was still not really convinced. I was waiting for the real personal call that I will decide myself and not what people will say.
Okay.
So that was what I was waiting for, my own decision to decide based on the call.
So tell us, this dramatic turn, this conviction, what and how did it happen? Jesse decides, I am going to study pastoral studies.
It was kind of a waking up, like you wake up from sleep and like something just whisper to you. I need to do this. I need to do that. A voice. The voice of God became obvious to me at a point in time. Like I was struck with something in my mind. So I just got convinced within me.
Okay.
With no one really convincing me.
Okay.
So that same time, I saw a man, a strange man that I've never seen before. I was gisting with my friend, then the man came. And just without greeting us, he said, you are supposed to be a minister of God. So I was it was like a confirmation to me.
Real life or dream?
Real life.
Real life?
Real life.
He just walked up to you?
Yes.
And then he said, you're supposed to be a pastor?
Yes.
And you've never laid eyes on him?
No.
And you never saw him afterwards? That's interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting. So, now, this conviction is here. Jesse is convinced, and then the next thing is, where do I study? So you found yourself, when you told your folks, your siblings, how did they receive this thought, this idea of leaving theater arts, going for pastoral ministry?
At first, I thought some of them will kind of resist my decision.
Okay.
But to my greatest surprise, because it was, to me, it was from the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
They were all happy. They were very, very happy to receive the message from me, to become
no
a pastor.
opposition?
No opposition.
And so you packed your things and you found yourself in Babcock?
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about now, after the conviction, after the dreams, you are here. How are you finding studying pastoral ministry?
Yes, though studies, you must have to read, you must have to make your effort. But it's not easy, to be candid. Okay. But still, I feel I belong here.
Okay.
You get me?
Mm-hmm.
You must struggle in every field of study.
Yeah.
But really, I feel this is my right place. This is my right place because I have peace of mind. I have peace of mind in my spirit. I am the only one that know how I feel.
And that feeling, when you compare it to the times when you were ignoring the call to probably do pastoral ministry, I figure how peaceful you feel, and then especially when you know you are doing the right thing and God is with you. So, looking forward, pastoral ministry, postgraduate studies in pastoral ministry is for, how long is that going to take? 1 year?
9 months.
9 months. So,
yes.
After this, looking forward, what do you see yourself doing? Where do you see yourself?
I am going into the ministry fully.
Fully?
Yes.
Any thought?
To be a pastor.
Okay. Any thought in your mind as to pastoral ministry, but then still maybe a blend of it with theater arts or something?
This decision to be a pastor, to me, it will be at my risk to turn back. That's how I feel. I am here now. By the grace of God, no turning back.
Okay. Yeah, I've had some pastors share their stories, and when they talk about, when I got the conviction, I believe I was called to be a pastor, a minister. Some believe they were called to be an administrator, still pastors. And so I just want to know, do you see yourself, when you look forward now, thinking about where you are and what you are doing, the peace that you have, do you see yourself leading the church someday? I mean, nationwide, president, all those kind of things.
Yeah, if it is the will of God for me to go to any position. Okay. But for me now, I want to do the will of the Lord, to do my job with sincerity according to God's will. Okay. That's my concern. I don't really, I'm not really crazy about leadership for now, but let me do my job with wisdom.
Okay.
That's my concern.
And I believe God will grant you the wisdom.
Amen.
And the conviction and the direction. When you are done from here, you're going back to the northern part of Nigeria.
Yes.
And I know, I mean, the stories from Adventist World Radio and all that we've been hearing, that has been shared, a lot of things, hearts to reach out to in northern Nigeria is predominantly Muslim, Islamic dominated area. So how do you, when you think about that and ministry, how does it reach you?
Well, it's not an easy experience because we have the Boko Haram and some other Fulani herdsmen. But if I may relate it to the story of Jonah, when he was given the task to go to Nineveh, because of the gravity of their sin, he tended to refuse Though my experience might not be really in tune or exactly
like Jonah.
Like Jonah, but I will do my best and leave the rest for God.
Thank you very much for sharing your story. I find it very interesting because I believe it was God who spoke to you. I believe He is the one who got you convinced on coming into pastoral ministry. And I want to pray that the Lord who convinced you and brought you thus far would carry you through. And we'll be looking forward to what the Lord will do through you in your ministry. Maybe someday we'll have you back and share what God has done in northern part of Nigeria through your ministry. Arah Jesse, thank you for being a part of the program.
Thank you, sir.
And that will be all on the program today. It's very convincing and it is a very strong one. More than ever, I'm convinced that when Jesus has a task for you, He will find you out. And no matter how long you try to avoid it, Jesus has a way of making us understand, come home. There is a task to do. There's something that I have for you. And when you do it, like Jesse shared with us, you would always have peace of mind. On Damascus Encounter, that's all we'll be sharing for today. See you next time when we come with a fresher episode and another beautiful story. Until then, stay blessed.